I'm kind of pitching myself here as somebody who's an experienced investor, but always, I'm definitely new to this business as well. I just want to speak about this product and just how much, it has really helped me, propel myself, get better with talking with sellers, actually be able to close a deal. My strategies right now have been primarily direct mail, cold calling, and cold texting, and I've found a lot of success with Real Estate IQ, especially being able to get in front of customers, have engaging conversations, and of course, I'm hoping to use all of that to build my own business and eventually retire off.
Excited to be here, and I want to say a big thank you to Real Estate IQ. They have the absolute top leads in the industry and just make investing effortless for all of us as real estate investors here in Texas and obviously everywhere else that they're focused. And I'm proud to be associated with Real Estate IQ. Love what you guys do and love how you all help investors so that we can focus on the thing that makes us the most money, which is the job of real estate investing.
I wanted to jump on this morning and give a shout out to Real Estate IQ. I began my journey with them a few years ago, just using some of the more basic products, the off-market leads. And since then, growing and visiting and talking with not only Steve, but other people who are involved with Real Estate IQ, I've had the opportunity to actually not only be a client, but I also became an investor with them. And that is one of the beauties of being able to be part of Real Estate IQ, is it gives you the opportunity to grow as an investor, especially in real estate.
Welcome to your 3-minute update on the U.S. real estate market as of late June 2025. Let's take a look first of the market overview. The U.S. housing market is experiencing a notable shift. After years of tight inventory and rapid price growth, the landscape is changing. Inventory is rising, sales are mixed, and affordability remains a central challenge. Home sales took a significant hit in May, dropping 13.7% from April and falling over 6% compared to last year. This is the lowest level seen since the pandemic, with the South seeing the steepest declines. In contrast, existing home sales surprised on the upside, ticking up 0.8% in June for the second straight monthly gain, though they remain slightly below last year's pace. Inventory is building across the country. There are now over 500,000 new homes for sale, enough to last nearly 10 months at the current sales pace. This marks a clear move toward a buyer's market, especially in the South and West, where new construction has outpaced demand. For sellers, this means more competition and a growing need to price homes realistically. About 40% of homes are now selling below asking price, and price cuts are increasingly common. Despite the inventory surge, prices are still edging up. The median new home price is $426,600, up 3% from last year. Existing home prices are also rising, with the median now at $422,800. However, with more homes sitting on the market longer, the pace of price growth is expected to moderate. Mortgage rates have dipped slightly but remain high, with the average 30-year fixed rate at 6.76%. This keeps monthly payments elevated and continues to sideline many potential buyers, especially first-timers. Cash buyers and investors are stepping in to fill some of the gap, now accounting for over a quarter of all sales. The Northeast and Midwest are outperforming, with modest sales and price gains thanks to better affordability and steadier demand. Meanwhile, the South and West are seeing slower sales and more unsold inventory, as higher prices and rapid construction outpace local demand. Buyers now have more options and negotiating power, but high rates still limit affordability. Sellers must adapt to increased competition, price strategically, and be prepared for longer sales cycles. Investors should watch for opportunities in regions where demand is holding up, particularly the Northeast and Midwest. The market's next moves will depend on mortgage rates and broader economic trends. If rates fall, pent-up demand could return. For now, expect a more balanced market, with buyers gaining leverage and sellers needing to adjust to new realities. That's your 3-minute market snapshot. Stay tuned for further updates as the market continues to
I'm kind of pitching myself here as somebody who's an experienced investor, but always, I'm definitely new to this business as well. I just want to speak about this product and just how much, it has really helped me, propel myself, get better with talking with sellers, actually be able to close a deal. My strategies right now have been primarily direct mail, cold calling, and cold texting, and I've found a lot of success with Real Estate IQ, especially being able to get in front of customers, have engaging conversations, and of course, I'm hoping to use all of that to build my own business and eventually retire off.
Excited to be here, and I want to say a big thank you to Real Estate IQ. They have the absolute top leads in the industry and just make investing effortless for all of us as real estate investors here in Texas and obviously everywhere else that they're focused. And I'm proud to be associated with Real Estate IQ. Love what you guys do and love how you all help investors so that we can focus on the thing that makes us the most money, which is the job of real estate investing.
I wanted to jump on this morning and give a shout out to Real Estate IQ. I began my journey with them a few years ago, just using some of the more basic products, the off-market leads. And since then, growing and visiting and talking with not only Steve, but other people who are involved with Real Estate IQ, I've had the opportunity to actually not only be a client, but I also became an investor with them. And that is one of the beauties of being able to be part of Real Estate IQ, is it gives you the opportunity to grow as an investor, especially in real estate.
Welcome to your 3-minute update on the U.S. real estate market as of late June 2025. Let's take a look first of the market overview. The U.S. housing market is experiencing a notable shift. After years of tight inventory and rapid price growth, the landscape is changing. Inventory is rising, sales are mixed, and affordability remains a central challenge. Home sales took a significant hit in May, dropping 13.7% from April and falling over 6% compared to last year. This is the lowest level seen since the pandemic, with the South seeing the steepest declines. In contrast, existing home sales surprised on the upside, ticking up 0.8% in June for the second straight monthly gain, though they remain slightly below last year's pace. Inventory is building across the country. There are now over 500,000 new homes for sale, enough to last nearly 10 months at the current sales pace. This marks a clear move toward a buyer's market, especially in the South and West, where new construction has outpaced demand. For sellers, this means more competition and a growing need to price homes realistically. About 40% of homes are now selling below asking price, and price cuts are increasingly common. Despite the inventory surge, prices are still edging up. The median new home price is $426,600, up 3% from last year. Existing home prices are also rising, with the median now at $422,800. However, with more homes sitting on the market longer, the pace of price growth is expected to moderate. Mortgage rates have dipped slightly but remain high, with the average 30-year fixed rate at 6.76%. This keeps monthly payments elevated and continues to sideline many potential buyers, especially first-timers. Cash buyers and investors are stepping in to fill some of the gap, now accounting for over a quarter of all sales. The Northeast and Midwest are outperforming, with modest sales and price gains thanks to better affordability and steadier demand. Meanwhile, the South and West are seeing slower sales and more unsold inventory, as higher prices and rapid construction outpace local demand. Buyers now have more options and negotiating power, but high rates still limit affordability. Sellers must adapt to increased competition, price strategically, and be prepared for longer sales cycles. Investors should watch for opportunities in regions where demand is holding up, particularly the Northeast and Midwest. The market's next moves will depend on mortgage rates and broader economic trends. If rates fall, pent-up demand could return. For now, expect a more balanced market, with buyers gaining leverage and sellers needing to adjust to new realities. That's your 3-minute market snapshot. Stay tuned for further updates as the market continues to
Welcome, welcome, welcome. to another episode of our Thursday Dealmakers Meetup. And we have a very full program here, a full hour planned for you, and lots of updates and market updates and all the deals updates, along with a really awesome educational segment. So have fun. This event is brought to you by Real Estate IQ, our host. Real Estate IQ is very well known for the off-market leads, right? Where we mine the freshest off-market motivated seller so that you can start your lead generation and get your off-market deals from these programs. So that's the off-market leads for those who are interested in learning more about what it is, how you can apply it to get deals. Tons of investors are actively getting deals every single month. We're talking about scaling your marketing operation and getting a consistent number of deals from these data. And we are witnessing it every single day here. So if you want to tap into that lead source, go ahead and schedule a one-on-one consultation with one of our representatives, and we will we'll take care of you. Now, along with the data program, we also have our deals program, where if you're only interested in the deals and acting on the deals, right, working on the deals, we have a deals program that can bring deals to you, along with a funding program that's aimed for providing the capital you need to acquire these properties. We have lots of interest in these programs as well. So if you're interested, also you can use the chat and kind of express your interest. Now, our event today, we want to be very, very interactive. In our past events, we have also kind of enjoy your engagement and your questions. So don't be shy, ask questions as the questions come up. This is exactly how we can actively learn. And obviously, we always say that taking action and actually applying it is going to be the fastest way to learn any concept, because we're applying it, we're seeing real problems, all the nuances and details that it's just so hard to kind of express in a 1 hour segment. When you're doing the deals themselves, that's when you're gonna, all kinds of issues are gonna come up, and then you're gonna learn all those nuances, right? That's what it takes to be a successful real estate investor and entrepreneur. I left this up. I don't think I'm gonna talk through this slide, right? We don't offer investment, financial, or legal advice. This is for educational purposes only. If you need help closing a deal, we have folks that are taking advantage of this as well. They are sending me emails with the deals that they want looked at. And so we're also helping them with evaluating the deals and closing the deals too. So you want to take advantage of that if you like. Today's agenda, we just finished our intro. We're going to start diving into market updates and case studies. And then we also have a really awesome educational topic planned for you. John, are you up? I'm going to invite you up here to give us a market update.
Sounds good. I'm here. Can you guys open?
Oh, we can.
Yeah. Open my channel, please, and I'll be there.
We can hear you. We cannot see you. There's something about your camera, so that might be something we have to deal with today. But for market updates, John. Oh, there you are. Take it away, sir.
All righty. Very good. So the market is getting into an interesting point. So last night, I don't know if anyone paid attention to the Fed's announcement. It was reduced by 40 basis points. And people say, well, I'm not a finance guy, so I don't know what base point means. So that's 40 basis point is a 0.4%. Okay. That's pretty significant. It was anticipated to reduce by 25 or maximum 50. And now we know it's a 40 basis points. So what does that mean? That means everything, interest rate, yield, and everything will be affected by that. Stock market will get really hot, okay, whether you like it or not. But US dollar is going to be strengthened, and a lot of interesting movements in the market that's going to come. And the 30-year fixed rate has already dropped, and it will continue to drop. We already predicted, in our Real Estate IQ, we actually predict the market performances, right? One of them is to predict the financial industries, rates and all that. Part of it, and we anticipated that last year we predicted that the interest rate will be fixed around 5.55% ish. So given the 40 basis points of a reduction on the Fed's rate, probably the speed will be accelerated. And the bigger challenge is actually the insurance cost. I don't know if anybody is aware of that. Right now, the biggest holdup for anybody to acquire their first house or continue to buy or rent, their houses is insurance cost. It's skyrocketing, and we have numbers. And if we got a chance, we can talk about that. Okay, in my portion. And the other thing is, Austin Fast Track's Affordable Housing Fund is very interesting. So Austin area has been really focusing on building the multi doors, okay, instead of a single house market. It has been focusing on building more apartments, or to some extent, the quote is affordable housings, low rent cost and the low maintenance fees and all that, right? So what does that mean? They want to attract. Do you think they're going to attract a lot of high income folks? Probably not. Probably is more middle and the lower income individuals getting attracted to Austin area. What does that mean for your real estate properties? Well, think about your investment, right? Maybe, do you think the house is going to continue to rise or continue to appreciate? Put a question mark on it, right? Whenever a area develop middle income or lower income housing, usually the economy in that area is going to maintain in certain level, okay? I will give you an example. In DFW area, Keller was an example, okay? Keller is an example. Back in 2001, it has over 20 developers simultaneously developing different communities and the different housings. And at that time, there were between 1999 and 2003, there were over, there was a number, but it's in tenth of a thousand houses simultaneously being built. But it was struck very badly by the financial crisis in 2001, right? And 9/11, everything. So ever since Keller went down, that's one of the largest city in Tarrant County, if you don't know. And it just recovered. Lately, just recovered. In the last about 5 years-ish, 5 to 10 years-ish, it just recovered, okay? And now they are still focusing on lower income, a lot of cheap houses in that area. So what do you think, right? How's your investment going to go in the long run? Again, construction in the road and everything is going to evade or erode your profit margins as well. Okay. So another big thing is on the mortgage interest. The mortgage interest and the mortgage interest rate and mortgage insurance is going up. And then it was the property insurance. Okay, it's a big news. 65% of homeowners identify rising insurance costs as a significant barrier for property purchase. 64% in the recent survey, okay? And many buyers face insurance premium increase average over how much? Anybody wants to guess? Anybody wants to guess? Insurance, it's not a big deal. How much? 20% plus. 20 plus percent, okay? That's significant. And some area is 30%, okay? So you're talking about $1,000 cost, and now it's becoming $3,000 cost, right? Or even higher for some high premium houses. Well, what is impacted the most? Well, anywhere the district around the coastlines, okay? Especially in Louisiana, Houston, unfortunately, East Coast, and some other areas, okay? So watch out at this big trend. And Florida is being hit pretty badly, okay, on this insurance cost surge. Okay, so adjustment to the house preferences is affecting everybody. Okay, so when we're selling the properties, when we have the house and we want to dispose of the house, be careful. So for instance, they will reconsider the house size, the size of the house, because that affects the insurance pretty badly. Okay. They're also the vulnerable properties. What does that mean? Well, properties are around the borderlines, properties, that is used, old, right? Around some, the mining area, okay, to minimize the insurance risk and the costs. Tornado corridors, y'all know that tornado corridor, it is very alarming, and insurance will be determined on where the property is located, right? And also they need to adjust the budget now, right? This is the buying, okay? So cost concern, financial risk, and also insurance concern that is affecting the buying habit of the current market. And also the climate risk exposure is affecting the house disposition as well. Okay. Real Estate IQ, we're going to publish a opinion. We're going to have some blog news to specifically address that. So watch out for our email communications with more data, with more recommendations. Okay. So I think that's enough for now, right, Steve?
Yeah, John, I was going to add that anecdotally, we got a couple of these properties in Galveston, investment grade property. So a lot of work that needs to get fixed up. And a lot of investors are hesitant because of the crazy insurance cost in that area. So unless, they are just kind of actively, pursuing the Galveston deals, right? They just specialize in it. A lot of folks are like, man, Galveston, I don't want to touch them because of flood insurance.
That's right. But on the other hand, right, folks, I also, we're business people, right? Opportunity. Crisis means what? Opportunity. So if the insurance crisis is affecting the buying powers of many investors, what is the opportunity for us, right? We're in the business. What do you need to do to adjust your strategy and your plan? And what if you got stuck with some of the properties that you couldn't dispose? What do we do? And this is something that, later on, we definitely would like to have a panel discussions and kind of exchange ideas. So somehow we all can get out of this, kind of an awkward situation, right? But watch out, this insurance increase is permanent, right? It's not like mortgage, it go up and down, but insurance is gonna go permanent. So how we adjust our mentality, our strategy is not something nice to have, it's a must, right? So we hope that Real Estate IQ, we lead the intelligence analysis, we lead these strategy adjustment, so we can work with all of you to find something not to be compromised, but essentially optimized in a way that we all make money. That makes sense, folks? So I encourage you to stay on, and then we work together. How about that? Okay, back to you, Steve.
Thank you, John. And we're going to invite you back. For now, we're going to switch over and invite Tamla over. Hi,
Good
Tamla.
morning, everyone. How are you?
Busy and good. Let's talk about the deals. We have been very busy this week.
We have been.
So we got 3, the magic number today is 3. We have 3 market updates, 3 case studies. The first one we have, let's talk about this one. This one we just closed today in Groesbeck. Tamla, tell us more about this deal. And it looks like a really good deal from a number standpoint.
From the number standpoint, this is a very good deal. This house has been on the market for well over a year. And I actually looked at this property last year and made an offer on it, and the seller rejected the offer. Taxes went up tremendously this year in this location. And the real estate agent that had this home listed contacted me, because I've bought other property from him, from the same owner, contacted me and said, make us an offer on this house. And I made an offer, and the seller accepted it. The house looks sad. Really, it looks sad. It needs some TLC, but it's really not in horrible condition. Steve, you and I are planning on making this into a rental. So we're not going to be doing like the best of upgrades. We're going to make it a very nice, good, decent house for middle income to lower income, a place to live. But the numbers on this house worked extremely well. I was very pleased with the appraisal coming in at 165. And the interior is not really terrible. I mean, we're going to have to do some foundation work, and that's probably part of the biggest part of our budget. But the main things we're going to have to do is foundation work and replace the windows. Of course, we'll have some cracks in the walls and things like that from the foundation work. But the house basically is in very good condition after that. It's just going to need some paint and a good cleaning, and that's interior and exterior. There's a few pieces of rotted wood on the outside, but I don't expect to really run into any major problems on this house.
So no big problems. And I remember the asking price was much higher than what we ended up putting under contract. Was that right?
Yeah, this house started out with an asking price, I think, of around $100,000, maybe a little more, a little over a year ago. When we made the offer on it, it was listed at $70,000. They had reduced it down, and that had been after several reductions. So we did get it at a very good price.
And that's because it sat on the market for quite a while.
It did. It sat on the market a while. It was not cleaned up at all. The exterior of it was very overgrown. The landscaping in it very overgrown. The trees were overgrown. The fence did not. I mean, it needed some repairs, and there was an old car in the backyard that did not run. Some of the windows, the glass in the windows had been broken out, and the inside had not been cleaned up at all. I mean, somebody had moved out, and what they left was still there. Nobody had ever gone in and cleaned the house up. And that was, I think, part of the problem with it not selling. It just didn't look like it was livable. It wasn't very appealing. Grass was always, I mean, they cut the grass after it got knee high, and they'd let it get like that again before they'd cut it again. So there was nothing very appealing about this house at all.
Gotcha. And our thesis here is, in this area, being able to kind of affordable, providing affordable housing that are in, good, high quality condition. And they happen to be in the opportunity zone. So
yes,
that's kind of where we're exploiting these opportunities here.
Yes, very much so. And in Groesbeck, there is a huge demand for good rental properties in the $1,000 to $2,000 range. And this house will fit into that very nicely. I don't think we'll have any issues at all renting the properties. Our property manager has been contacting me, asking me when we're going to get the rest of our properties that we're working on the market and ready to rent, because she's got a list of people that are looking for places to live. So I'm looking forward to getting this finished and on the market to rent and moving forward.
Yeah. Cool. So I guess we just finished closing a couple of days ago, and the next step is to get it all looking good. We deploy the repair funds and the rehab funds and get it going.
Yes.
So another effort that was starting to take up quite a bit of time this week was the refinancing of these properties. A couple of weeks ago, we talked about two deals: the one in Thornton and there's also one in Mart. We're going to talk about the Thornton one faster because I think it's a simpler case.
Yes, this house we purchased in, I think it was March or April, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And the seller had a lease back. They were there for a little less than 30 days or a little over 30 days. I can't remember, but they actually left the house very clean. We didn't have to do anything when we got the house to start working on it. This was a very simple project. We had a really big tree taken out and some smaller trees taken out. We cleaned up the landscaping very nicely. We painted everything in there. There was a couple of cabinets that needed repairs. We repaired those cabinets and we put it on the market for lease, and it leased within a week. And we got exactly what we were asking for it in monthly lease terms. And our tenants have been in there for 2 months now. So now we're in the process of refinancing this into a DSCR loan. So, and Steve has actually been working on this more than I have, because I've been running the rehabs and trying to find other properties and getting them closed this week and last week.
Yeah, and what I'm learning is kind of so for DSCR, we usually look at like around 65% of the loan to value. But because it's not in the urban area, it's in the city area, we have to find specialized lenders that actually lend in the rural area, and also that they don't loan to 85%. So we're looking at about 75%. I got some typo here. Our first option is actually refinancing with a DSCR loan. That said, that's still able to kind of refinance with the cash out, so we can cash out the hard money and private money lenders, and then kind of just turn that into a rental.
Yes.
So we're working on it. We're breathing this right now on getting the refi done, and that's been taking up quite a bit of our attention. Yes,
it has. But the positive thing about this is that we have good tenants. I said they've been in there 2 months. They
a 2-year lease.
Yes, it's a 2-year lease, and our property manager says that they are paying early, and they're taking care of the property. So that's all we can ask for.
Yeah,
for good tenants.
Really good news. All right, then the second one is a little more complicated. This is fix and flip, and we shared kind of the story a couple of weeks ago too. And again, we had some requests to look at the numbers, and so here are the numbers.
Steve, I'll let you go over these numbers, and then I'll jump in with some of the objections we've run into when it comes to refinancing this into either a DSCR or bridge loan, or whichever way you want to go. So so here this property, we had to get some private lending, private money to for the closing, and also because of the budget overrun, we ended up needing more private money too to kind of finish up the rehab. We still got maybe, what would you say, Tam, 10 to 20%, or maybe just 10% of the work remaining? Yeah, I think so.
So when it comes to refi, we're looking at 3 different options. A DSCR is something that we're working on right now, kind of as a plan B, just to have something in place. We don't love the DSCR because DSCR loans tend to have a prepayment penalty. And if we're trying to flip it, we'll have to pay some extra points. It's not an ideal situation, but if the funding is there, at least we can pay back the lender side. The other option that we're looking at is a bridge loan. which my understanding is about, well, they can fund up to 75% as well. That's gonna be more than enough for us to pay back the initial lenders. And then another option that we looked at is looking for a private long-term lender who are looking for kind of an above prime rate type of return, and then they intend to hold a note for steady income for what, like 10 years or more, Tamla?
Yes, 10 to 15 years.
10 to 15 years. So those are the three options that we're looking at. Anybody interested in being a private long-term lender, feel free to reach out to us. We're kind of actively qualifying them as well. And then I guess Tamla, I want to pass the mic to you now to talk about all the different things that we have been hearing about, all the obstacles that we're seeing. Before I pass it to you, I just wanted to reiterate something that we have planned on in the past is, instead of just talking about the good side of real estate investing, there are obstacles no matter what we do. So we want to use this opportunity to really share with you the different roadblocks that we're hitting. Maybe we thought it's gonna go really well in some area. Well, maybe we didn't anticipate some issues. So sharing. We want to take this opportunity to really share the lessons that we're learning with you as well. So we're learning together.
Okay. This project is on 20 acres. This home is on 20 acres. It's a little ranch, little farmhouse. It's got a nice barn, 2 storage areas, a pond, and cross fenced. So it's really an agricultural piece of property. The problems that we've run into with refinancing this or getting a bridge loan for this is that it's rural and it's out of the city limits. So it is definitely rural. And a lot of your lenders will not do agricultural property in the sense where if it's 1 acre, 3 acres, up to 5 acres with a home, they may consider it. The 20 acres has limited our ability to find a lender to refinance this property. And the rural aspect of it has brought the amount that they will refinance down to 65% in a lot of areas. So we are now going in the direction of looking for either going with a bank that handles rural properties. So not your bigger banks, more of your local banks and financial institutions. Also, we have looked at agricultural lenders. And because this will be, when we sell this, someone will be able to run cattle, goats, horses, agriculture. And so we're looking at that. As Steve was talking about with the DSCR loan, most DSCR loans have a minimum of a 3-year prepayment penalty. Now, sometimes those loans can be bought down. Those prepayment penalties can be bought down, but you're usually going to have at least a 1-year prepayment penalty, even if you're able to buy that down. So this is what we're facing right now in the decisions that we're going to have to make when we do refinance this property. So I hope that's cleared up some questions, and I hope I've explained that very well. But buying an agricultural piece of property or a rural piece of property does present limitations when it comes to lenders.
And we're getting some progress until I think, we make sure that it works. I hesitate to kind of share those details. We're finding some ways, right? Some lenders do lend up to 20 acres. And so I guess we'll continue to share the progress of this property as time goes on. Jason has a question about what's a leaseback, and maybe we can address that before we move to the next segment.
A leaseback is when a seller sells a piece of property, but they're not ready to move out for whatever reason. Maybe the home that they're buying is not ready, or they haven't closed on it. So a leaseback is when the seller of the property leases the property back that they just sold for a specific period of time. And we handle that. Let me talk a little bit about the way we handle that. When we do this, we hold back some of the money in escrow to motivate the seller to move out as fast as possible.
And we also
go ahead.
We also implemented kind of a step up. So the first 30 days, the daily rate is much lower. And then after 30 days, we have a step up. I don't know if after 60 days, we have another step up, but we were thinking they're going to move out after 60 days.
Yeah, after 60 days, it's really, it's financially devastating for the seller if they have not moved out. We can say it like that. We're paying interest every month and waiting for the seller to move out so that we can go in and start doing what we need to do to the home to get it ready for whether we're going to flip it or whether we are going to lease it. So we need them to get out, and it is just, they would be better off moving into actually a hotel after 60 days.
Yeah. And I was running some math, the first month, based on the interest cost, we actually are not gaining money because we're trying to kind of make the terms okay for them, because that's part of their condition, which is being able to stay in the property. And Ethan has a question: how often do you encounter leaseback options? Usually, it happens when the owner is currently occupying the property, and they tend to need some time to kind of pack their stuff up and move out. If it's a vacant property, you don't need to worry about that situation.
And this is more really in your smaller areas, usually in your metropolitan areas. Most people have already found a home that they're buying, or they may be moving across country. So they're ready to pack up, and they're probably going to be out. And the day of closing, you probably have a vacant house. This has happened twice to us, where we've bought properties and had a lease back. Both times, the first time, and actually on the Smart property here, there was some illness in the family, which caused a delay in them moving out. So it took them a little longer, and we accommodated their personal illnesses. And then in the second deal, which was the Thornton deal, the sellers had not closed on the home that they were buying. There had been a delay in closing, and so they needed to stay a little bit longer. But I think they were there. Were they there full 30 days, or was it 27 days, or was it 33 days that they were there, Steve?
I thought it was longer. It was longer than the 30 days.
Okay.
The price hike kicked in for a few days.
Yeah. And those are always negotiable. I know with the Thornton deal, we didn't kick up the price. If I remember correctly, it was in the lease for us too, but it was so close to the day that they were supposed to move out. We just kind of...
As goodwill.
Yeah.
As goodwill, we kind of, we did.
Yeah. And it was like, I don't know, was it 3 weeks later that we got a lead that they had recommended us to someone that wanted to sell their house, and they they gave our information to them, which that's what we want.
Yeah, they gave us 2 leads, actually. They gave us someone at Waco as well. And I was just gonna say, the lease back is a way for us to offer flexibility to make the deal work. And I think the more we can kind of cater the terms and the deals to the seller's needs, then we're more likely to win the deal too. Because
Yes.
there was a lot of back and forth with the Thornton owners.
Yes, there was. There was.
Let's
Yeah,
see.
I think the way it was they wanted to sell it to us, and then they decided they didn't want to sell it to us. And this went on for, what was it, 3 or 4 months before they actually signed a contract with us.
Yeah, it was a little bit, but we're patient, and we were, I guess, our intention is really, kind of helping them with whatever situation that they need, right? That's kind of our first principle. And so I think that kind of enable us to actually winning the deals, because we weren't trying to just like, I don't care about you, I just want the deal. We were trying to take care of people first.
Exactly.
All right. So thank you, Tamla. And we're gonna move on to, we're gonna invite John back up on stage and give us the entrepreneurship talk and kind of finance and entrepreneurship, which I think is a really awesome topic. So John, the stage is yours.
Okay. Thank you. I appreciate that. So, Stephen and I have been talking about what can benefit the investors and business partners here. What are the topics that is pressing the folks that probably don't care much about? But probably, kind of putting the back burner, not that pay attention to, but it's just putting on the back burner. And we have this ultimate kind of a burden on our heart to bring to your attention, right? So this is something that we're gonna continue on every Thursday to add a element about it while you're fighting the battle, get the deals, dispose the properties, and look for the next properties. What are things that we need to plan on, right? So today we're not going to go whole lot deep on it. We're going to just talk a little bit about, what are the things we need to think about. Okay, we need to think about, and then we're going to basically talk about, specific interested points that could be a tax, real estate, and other elements in our life. Okay, so I'm gonna just talk a little bit of kind of a mindset shift thing for everybody. Okay, so today we're gonna just start it off with that. All right, from a finance, from a money, from business entrepreneurship perspective, and hopefully today's topic is gonna open up another kind of a channel of a thought for all of you. Okay, so allow me to get started on the slide. Okay, we're going to talk about a life, work, legacy. Okay, and it's pretty short. I think it's pretty short, but we'll see. We'll see. Okay, life, work, legacy. How much time do you think you spend on thinking about it? Okay, let me share my desktop. Here we go. Here we go. So life, work, money, legacy, and business. All right. So I don't know how much time you were sharpening your pencils and to try to think about or come up with an idea, right? And my mentor sent me a picture, and I really like it. So I'm gonna just put it on. It's very simple, 2-liners. Is it a good idea or is it God's idea? Okay. At this morning, I was mentoring a entrepreneur. And she has been in business, all kinds of a business, right? Food, catering, finance, real estate, and home care and home cleaning, all kinds. She was busy with 4 kids, right? 3 kids, and the 4th is on the way. And we're talking about it. And I thought about it, talking about good ideas versus God's idea, right? How do you know the business idea is from yours or from God? You never know, okay? But you need to find out. So let's take a look of the life, work, money, and the legacy, right? So if we look at this picture, this is where, the horizontal axis is about life, right? We started young, we grow old. Hopefully we get a wealth built up, and hopefully we were able to, have some level of protections and wealth built up. And then after 65, hopefully we have good health and they live long, and then continue the cash flow, right? And there are 2 lines if you look at it. 2 lines over here. One line is, I'm going to draw it, is called this line. Okay? This is called a responsibility line. Okay? And this is called a wealth line. So this is a wealth, and this is a responsibility. However, there is a different name for responsibility line. But before I explain that, I'm going to ask you, so what is retirement? What retirement is here is when the 2 lines cross, intersect, right? This is where retirement is possible. What does retirement really mean? It means that you stop working for money. Okay, let me repeat again, my friends. Stop working for money. It's not that you stop working, okay? Because in many cases we see people stop working, they just pass away, right? You can't stop working, right? Either you work out or you work on something, hobby or something, right? You don't stop working for your health, for your life, for your mentality, for your spirituality. You don't stop working on those, right? Or family relationship, but you stop working for money. That's where retirement is. However, with that in mind, what is this line? So responsibly is going down, sending the kids to college or all that, right? What is this line? Kind of a descending line. This is also a line, we call it obligation line, right? Because think about it, when you are 50 years old, how many people would offer a job to you? How many people will recruit you as a business partner? That's a question mark. When you're 60-year-old, how many people would jump in and say, I'll give you money for you to invest and buy property for me, right? Well, that's a question mark, right? We all would like to be, Tamla, right? We have a reputation built up, but we have a skill set built up, but we have a market built up, a network built up that we are never short of deals or something we're good at, right? However, age really gives us a disadvantage. And most people don't have awareness of what this line is standing for. It's called a human capital, okay? Just now, my partner Steve talking about, hey, whoever wants to become a private lender, we would love to take your, cash or some type of asset and turn that into an investment to give you a good return, right? We actually wouldn't promise anything, but on average, our return on the private lender is 10%, right? That's pretty decent, 10%, right? And human capital is similar to a money capital. Okay, unfortunately, human capital is always descending, meaning lower and the lower and the lower. The example I already gave. When you are at 55 years old, how could you find a job, right? Very rare. People would offer you a job, even hourlies, right? Well, you can drive a school bus for $22 an hour. That's also fine. Or do Uber, right? to do a DoorDash, that's fine, right? People don't like it at your age. But however, because we're aging, our capability, capacity, and everything is degrading, and we cannot keep up with all the skill set and the tools. Our human capital is always reducing, okay? So when this line intercedes with the wealth line, this is where ideal retirement time comes for you and I. Just sit back and then enjoy the life or work on our hobbies. Okay, so let's take a look at a deformed line. What about this slide? You know, the wealth is well built up before you were even born, right? And your human capital don't matter at all. And you can retire at 30 years old. Oh, we call that a golden spoon kids, right? Golden spoon kids. They are born with golden spoons, and then you know what? They're never worried about money, and there's always something for them to eat on, to use, or they usually do business with the money, right? One of my friend's daughter married a billionaire in England, and a nobleman. So he is working in his family's business and making millions of every year, right? They live in a castle, right? Well, I mean, that's a golden spoon, right? They never worry about it, right? So this is what a chart, and I want to show you an extreme case. This is called Jonathan Edwards. And I don't know if y'all familiar with that family, okay? They have a golden spoons, and usually it's a golden spoon after golden spoon, and it just keep going on, right? Unless somebody really break the chain, right? Otherwise, the generational blessing just continues on. Like Jonathan Edwards family, they have 13 college presidents, 65 college professors, and 75 military officers graduate from West Point and all that. And they also have 80 public servants, which means either senator or congressmen, so all that. And they also have authors, doctors, judges, and all that. This is this family. Wow, impressive, right? Why are you getting into real estate business? I don't think you're just trying to get a money for the next meal or for tomorrow's dorm, right? You are trying to build a legacy, okay? If that's the case, then this is something we should look into. How he was able to turn his family chain into a blessing generation after generation. Okay, let's look at another chart. This is a chart. It's called a generational curse, okay? So before this kid or any kid is born, they already got a lot of a debt on their head, right? And another person born in the family chain is just carry more debt, okay? So this is going on and on and on as well. Let's look at an extreme case. This family is real in America. This family is called the Max Jukes. I don't know if y'all know that, okay? At this family, they live in poverty generation after generation. Not only that, let's look at it. 300 people died, okay? And 150 criminals, 7 murderers executed or still in life in prison, hundreds plus of drunks, and 190s of prostitutes. Whoa. It's, wow, right? It's just, it makes you feel tired by looking at the numbers, right? So if we put them side by side, either we build a legacy to let the family blessings go on and on unstoppably, or because we did something or we didn't do something, we bring the curse generation after generation. There is a choice, my friends. There is a choice. So we put these two families together. As you can see, either you go up, 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 or you go down, down, down. So what's the point? What's the point, John? What's the point? What my point is, somebody has to stop it or somebody has to start it. Either somebody started this blessing or somebody stopped the blessing and it going down. Okay? Or this is going down, somebody can stop it and actually bring it up. Let me ask you, my friends, is that you? You're the stopper or you're the starter? And we talked about 3 sessions before, we talked about what is entrepreneurship. Entre is in between, right? Entre, E-N-T-R, E, that's entre, in between. Preneur, P-R-E-N-E-U-R, preneur. That is something, basically you do something about it, you initiate something about, right? Entrepreneur are the people between deals. They started the deals and they're already looking for the next deals. That's what an entrepreneur is. And I believe, Jonathan Edwards' family is entrepreneur. Okay, whether they are public servants or they're businessmen or judge, it doesn't matter. They are entrepreneurs. They carry that momentum on and on. And I'm pretty sure Max Jukes and this family, they're all suckers. Well, unfortunately, I have to use that word. Sucker means what? Suck the wealth or the savings and then just continue to suck in. There is no output. That's why they become a curse to the next generation. Okay. So what about average families like you and me then? What we can do? What can we do? Well, if you look at this, we can move in our retirement age. Okay. And all we need to do is just to reduce the speed of the degradation of our human capital line, move our human capital line a little bit earlier, all right? Or we move our wealth line a little bit earlier. That will give us a early retirement. So we call that what? FIRE, financial independence and retire early. That's called a firework, okay? And in Real Estate IQ, we actually promote that mentality, promoted that culture in our employees, among our investors, partners. Financial independence and retire early, okay? Financial independence doesn't necessarily mean you don't own debt, okay? You actually owe some debt, okay? You owe some debt. Entrepreneurs, we all owe some debt, okay? That's fine. But how do you manage the debt? One of these classes, we're going to talk about it, okay? And we all look at the Robert Kiyosaki's chart, right? You know, as an employee, that's a fixed income you get. However, there is no freedom to generate anything, and there is no wealth to pass on, because once you leave the job, everything is gone, right? So we become a self-employed. We do plumbings, we do electricians, and without all that, right? Or you get a license to become a CPA. That's good, but there's a problem. If you stop working, there's no income. Okay, so you are still heavily tied to this human capital. Okay, your age, your aging, and your skill set is all you can have for your incomes, right? So for instance, summer is over. Summer is almost over. Who is worried about income? Anybody can guess? Who is worried about the deals and incomes? Okay, for at least October and November, they will be worried about making deals, making incomes. Who? As a matter of fact, you all dealt with them before. The AC guys, the plumbers, okay? Because they will be worried about it. Not until winter hits. Nobody is going to tune up the heaters. Nobody is going to tune up the ACs, right? Because it's cooling down. Nobody is going to fix their plumbings unless they have a properties to fix up for rentals. So think about it. There is a seasonality for self-employed, because always up and down, like a mortgage interest, right? However, if you build into a business, transition into a business, okay, become a business owner, then you overcome this obstacle of up and downs. What I mean is you are no longer affected by seasons. You're no longer affected by the mortgage interests anymore, right? So what is business owner? Or you can transition into an investor. With your savings, you put it into a business and let the business to grow, and essentially you retire on the incomes that generated from that investment, right? So how do you become a business owner and become an investor? That's $1 million questions. We're gonna save it for the future. How about that? But just to create, so some people actually said, all right, John, I got it. On the left side is active income, and on the right side is a passive income. Is that what you're saying? Yes or no? Why? I don't see passive income, because I never see a business owner actually doing nothing just to collect money. I never seen one. I never met one like that. They all work on something, right? So it's not about a passive income. It's about scalable income. Scalable income. Okay? That's what I meant. Is it a passive or not? It doesn't matter. Okay? It's a scalable. That means whether you are on the beach or whether you are in a game, whether you are in business in office, your money is always being made, right? That's called business ownership and investing money. What another difference is, the hourly income or the self-employed income all depends on the hour you put in the work. The more hours you work, the more money you make. I got friends, right? They're nurses. Over the weekend, a qualified nurse, can make $2,000 to $3,000 just on weekend. Okay, some of them can make $5,000. Do you know that? You probably don't know that. Okay, So if there are nurses calling you and saying, hey, I want to be a partner with you, that's probably a good thing because they got a lot of cash, right? However, if they stop overtime on the weekends, do they still make that, $20,000 or, $60,000 extra? No, they don't. Okay. So their annual income dropped to $50,000 to $60,000. But if they're overtime, overwork, overtime, kind of a spending on the holidays, all that, you know what? Their income that year would be over $200,000. Do you know that? Okay. Now you know it. However, that is based on the hours. Okay. Business owners and investors, initially they're going to be low or even lower, even negative. However, build over time, their growth is exponential. It's unlimited. Okay. So we have summarized, I'm going to summarize my talk for today up. To earn, to do. Okay. To earn a daily income, you wait a table and the boss will give you money for that day. If you want a weekly income, you work on a job and you get paid every other week, right? And if you want a monthly income, that's great. Then you manage people. You become a manager in the office and you always can get some money on a monthly basis. What if you want to make money on a yearly basis? Well, investing in the asset, investing in a rental, you get yearly good incomes, right? And what if you want a lifetime income? What do? You build a system. And whether you retire or not, you always get money. Well, there's some people saying, well, I just want to get hourly money. I can spend on the liquor and the smokes and all that. Well, good for you. You do Uber driving. That's fine, right? Or I want a minute income. Every minute I want to see my money grow up. Well, I got a good news for you. You can join our business. You can do cold calls with us, right? We pay you by minutes. So again, there's always a way to make a living, my friend. But can you make a life? Like Jonathan Edwards family, make a life, make a legacy. Then it's all dependent on what your mind is set on. Hopefully today's message that do a little bit of kind of a wake-up call for y'all. And the next time we're going to talk a little bit about business ownership and tax. What does that mean? And how we leverage that kind of X curve to to design our business model and that sort of thing. So that will be next week, right? Stay tuned. Hopefully you benefit from that. All right, Steve, I'm going to yield the stage back to you, my friend.
Wow, John. I never knew what to expect from your talk, but I'm always learning something.
Good.
And thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I got a question. I got a really good question here for you. And for those that have questions for John and Tamla, I'm going to invite Tamla up here too. We're in our Q&A segment, just a couple more minutes here. Feel free to use the chat and ask your questions. So I got a question on generational wealth and generational curse. What are the first steps someone needs to take in order to break a pattern of debt or poverty in their family?
So many talks, especially our dear friend David Ramsey will say, cut your credit card and use cash only, and then close all the debts, and that's your first step. I would say, wait a second. Okay, it's not applicable for real estate investors because we all owe some debt anyway. So no, don't focus on the money. Isn't that what Jesus says? If all you think is money and you serve money and you worship money, and you are a servant of money instead of a servant of God. So even focusing on debt reduction is something that you serve the debt. Okay, you serve the money spirit. So actually, I would ask you to find a coach. Okay, hopefully those coaches that willing to pour out onto you without charging you a dime. Okay, you need a coach to really help you to have a kind of a wake-up call to ask a certain questions and essentially build up this mentality of what to focus on. That's the very first step, my friend. Coach. As someone, I talked to one of my friends, and he found a coach. He's 49 years old last week. Okay, his birthday was last week. And he said, I found a coach. He's 35 years old. I said, you know what? Dump and run, right? I'm not saying that 35 cannot be your coach. I'm saying if you're looking for a life coach or business coach, you want someone not just hit on a lottery, become rich, and become a coach, right? You want someone who has been seasoned, like Tamara, like Steve, like my, I'm not going to put myself up there, but essentially we have life experience and seasoning. Okay, so that's very first step. How many? Ethan has a question. How many properties are you generally looking at pursuing at the same time? I guess that's for Tamala, for Steve, and for myself. Tamala, you want to attempt that? You're on mute.
I'm constantly looking for properties. This morning and every morning when I get up, I fix my coffee, I sit down in my recliner, I read my Bible verses that I want to read that day and really mentally get in touch with what their meanings are or what I think their meanings are. I put a smile on my face, and the next thing that I do on my phone is real estate for sale in whatever area it is.
That's
and
right.
I pull it up and I hit newest listings and it'll pull up the newest listings. And then after that, I change from newest listings to reduced pricing. So that's what I do every day. And if anything catches my eye, I check into it a little bit further. I probably get on a minimum 20 emails a day from people that are selling properties, and most of these are wholesalers sending me information on properties that they've got for sale. I get probably 10 texts a week from wholesalers or other real estate agents that have properties for sale that they would like for me to entertain purchasing them. So, but I've been doing this a long time, and I get a lot of, I'm looking every day. I'm looking 3 or 4 times a day, probably at real estate when I have some free moments. I actually call looking for real estate online stress relief, because it takes everything else off my mind and I can just focus on that at that time. So I'm always looking. And I think Steve's getting about as bad as I am.
Get good, as good as you are.
As good as I am. Okay.
Right. I spend a lot of time in marketing, so I always see that sometimes the struggle for an entrepreneur is when we are actively in operations, right, doing the deals, acting on the deals, it's hard to spend time on the front end of the pipeline, right? We're making sure the pipeline fills up. Maybe we start doing that in the beginning, then we get the deals, we get busy on the deals, and then we neglect the pipeline. Yeah. And then guess what? What happens is you start getting this up and down, right? You get busy and you, no deal. Let me do the marketing, and then so it becomes a little bit of a vicious cycle, or you just kind of start and stop type of cycle. So I'm very conscious of that. I tend to catch myself. Oh man, today I'm just so focused on doing all the things I need to get done. I'm not working on the deals. I need, I will only take like one day or something. Like, tomorrow I need to work on the deals. I need to start continue to move on the pipeline. And so I'm constantly looking at deals. I'm constantly doing outreach and underwriting deals. I don't know, John, you want to add anything here?
Yeah, I would say 2 to 3. This is I'm quoting 2 to 3. Actually, 3 will be optimum on the deals. 3 prospects. If you're doing other business, 3, always a 3. Three gives you a sense of continuities of the deals. Okay. And I'm sure Tamla will be screening and all the deals, all the properties, but you can't spread your focus too wide. And we only have a limited time and attention, right? And another thing is, if you are working in a group or in partnership, you can expand that. And interesting enough, when two people work together, it's not a 2 times 3, 6 deals you can work on. Actually, you can work on 8 deals now. If you have a 3 people together, it's not 9 deals you can work on. You can work on probably 20 deals. This is kind of a collective power of a community that gives to you. What I talked about, to build a business, to sustain a business ownership, that's what I meant. So I would suggest individually, if you have to work on deals, 3 probably is better. It's scientifically proved, psychologically proved. And I've got people working on 4 or 5 deals. Yes, it's either they sacrifice family relationship, their time with the Lord, or their health, or something. Again, if you're capable, that's your gift, go for it. But ideally, you want to keep 3 in a pipeline. So Stephen and I, we're always talking about the pipeline. You want to keep 3 in the pipeline always, plus the 1 you already work on, plus the 1 you just closed. So 5 is ideally kind of the situation you want to maintain. Hopefully that makes sense.
Yeah, John, I appreciate the perspective. I also I find that I'm kind of doing the same. I'm always kind of looking at, okay, these are the 3 deals that we got put in contracts on, or like work on, like 3 appointments, 3 underwriting. I'm always kind of just anecdotally have 3. I kind of always have top 3. I don't know. 1 falls out and then I fill it up.
Yeah.
So it's a magic number.
Magic number. That's called a trinity. Okay.
Yes. Yes, sir. Okay. All right. Just quick words on upcoming events. We got 4 more events coming up. Yes, we have 1 event, how to find great investment deals. If you're curious about different type of motivate sellers, right? Each one's a different category and motivations different. We're gonna explore and deep dive on that.
Steve, can I jump in?
Yes, sir.
Guys, you want to make it to that session, okay? Most of the people only know foreclosure, but there are so many different varieties of distressed ownership that you will be amazed. Did you notice that in Tamla's daily routine, after the devotion time, she look at the first what's the first thing she look at? And then what's the second thing she look at? I don't know if y'all pay attention to that detail. The devil is in the detail. I mean, the blessing is in the detail. Okay. She look at the first is the new listing, and the second one, she look at the reduce the price. Okay. There is a secret. There is a secret in the business. So, but why people reduce the price and all that, we're going to give you some good readout in that session about different varieties of distressed ownership. Okay. And you don't want to miss that session. You totally don't want to miss that. You will drop your jaw after you hear that. Yeah.
Thank
a little
you.
Commercial, I don't
Thank
know.
you.
Yeah.
And then we have, just a whole line of setups, right? Every week we have 5 events, and always new content, always new talk. And so you're welcome to join us. If you're interested in signing up, I share my email on the group chat, and there's also a ways for you to sign up in the earlier chats that Christian shared.
Yeah.
Okay, and kind of last plug. If you want to talk to our consultants, right, learn more about Real Estate IQ and what we do, you can either learn more about the data, right, different type of motivated sellers, etc., or learn about the different kind of coaching and deals program, different programs we have to support you as a real estate investor. This is the place where you can learn more and ask questions. And finally, I always like to end our session with the beginning of taking action and start your real estate journey. Nothing beats, rubber hits the road and really taking action, executing, applying what you've learned. That's how we can really, really learn and move in the fast lane. So we want to encourage you that. And with that said, thank you, both of you, John, Tamla, for joining us. We'll see you again next week. And have a great rest of the weekend.
Yeah. God bless everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.